Okay, you ready for ingredients? This is what we're going to put into these biscuits. We're going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now this garlic powder I put in a little extra, and what I start with is I put those ingredients in and stir them up real good to mix the powdered stuff up real quick before we add the flour. We're going to add to that 2 cups of flour, about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, about 5.5 tablespoons of butter, and you see they're marked on the side. Just cut 5.5 to 6 tablespoons of butter. We're going to keep a little butter on the side for the tops, and we're going to put into those a little parsley flakes. And the only thing I've left out of here is milk, which we're going to add milk enough as needed. It'll probably be about 3/4 of a cup of milk. We're going to cook them in our oven for about 14 minutes at 375 degrees on I've got a cookie sheet, cookie pan, and with lightly floured, so that will be fine. That's the ingredients, and now I'm going to show you how to mix in this butter. Okay, we've got our butter here. I'm going to cut this off. It's really around 3/4 of a stick of butter. And I'm just going to cut that. And we're going to use the big portion here. And one of the things that I've learned in making good biscuits is not to use soft butter, use cold butter. So I just took the butter out of the refrigerator. You can put it in the freezer for a while if you want. And then I cut the butter into pats or cubes into cold bits and drop it in with the flour. Whoops, I didn't even put the flour in. So there's your 2 cups of flour, and here goes the butter. I've heard this called cutting in the butter, and there's a tool that if you're fancy you've got around the kitchen maybe. It's a little handle with like 5 blades on it to mash it down, but really cutting the butter is taking literally 2 knives and cutting it in like this. Now what you want is the butter to cut into small pieces about the size of a green pea. You don't want it completely melted in with the flour. You just want tiny little bits of it. Just keep working it down until those little clumps are smaller than a green pea. And that's cut in pretty good, I'd say. So now we're going to add the cheese. Now as far as how much to put in, I say put in a whole lot, a big handful. This probably measure out a cup and a half, something like that. But you need a pretty good bit. Now we're going to put that in. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. 1, 2. I don't really measure that super well. Now I'm adding in the cheese. I'm going to toss that around a little bit to get it oily. That's mixed up pretty good. Now I'm going to add the milk. Don't measure too carefully, and don't pour it all in at once. Pour in a little bit. And just toss it around. Flour is going to soak up the milk. Add a little more. You may want to add like several tablespoons at a time. It's getting mushy now. There's less powder in the bowl. The flour will just basically disappear and turn into dough, so you just watch. You don't want it too wet. See, there's very little powdered flour left in the bottom of the bowl. We're just about right. Just a little more in. Give it a few turns. Aha, this is looking right. What we've got in here is the flour, the milk, the oil, the cheese, the garlic powder, the salt, the baking powder, and the milk. We've cut in the butter just right, added the love, and now we're ready to spoon this out onto a pan. Now we're not going to form little biscuits of these. We're going to not roll it out. Just going to take the fork and do basically what we call drop biscuits and drop a blob of dough on the tray. This amount should make about 12 biscuits. Make them, you know, a decent size, not too big. Okay, so today's batch is going to get 13 biscuits. I cook these things at a temperature, on my oven, it's electric, I go between 375 and 400 degrees. And it takes about 15 minutes. I've seen both temperatures in recipes, so I'm not sure what to tell you, but go somewhere between 375 and 400 and keep an eye on them. It's going to take 12 to 17 minutes, somewhere in there, to bake, depending on your oven. So here they go. Okay, while I've got these in the oven, I've taken my bowl and put it in the sink, run hot water in it. And now I'm going to run some parsley flakes and some softened butter. This we're going to brush on the top after they're done. And just take a little bit of soft butter and put some parsley flakes in it. If you've got fresh parsley, congratulations. Then mix it up, chop it up, and make fresh parsley butter. But it's going to be just as good if you take dried flakes and work it into the parsley butter, and we'll brush it on the top when they come out. Make them look that much better. Why not just go ahead and take a little extra garlic powder. And then I mix it in with the butter as well. Garlic parsley butter. There goes our clock. And our biscuits are looking great. Here they come out of the oven. And they're looking brown on the top, golden brown on the bottom. And now we're going to brush them with a little of this butter. Just spread the butter in the little globs around best you can. And see how long you can wait before you have to eat one, because the smell I can't include in the video, but it is driving me crazy. So there you go, hot out of the oven. Garlic cheese drop biscuits, which are looking good enough to eat. You're going to have to trust me. That is great. Now, I'll say something about the milk. I use skim milk, whole milk, buttermilk, whatever milk's in the refrigerator will do you fine. I've seen no real noticeable difference. So I say whatever you like to drink is fine. Don't go spending good money on milk you don't want, or buttermilk. So there it is. Bon appetit. Enjoy. Let me hear from you.